God bless you for whatever that was for. Now, I I was asked by a news reporter 3 days ago in Korea. Just came back from Korea the day before yesterday. And while I was there, this gentleman said, well, he said, many Christians in Korea believe you are a mystic. Okay. He said, now, some of them don't believe that God heals. He said, can you answer that? I said, well, first of all, forget about what people think about me. That doesn't really matter. I said, let's talk about God. I said, I said, when you look up and see the sun, I said, you do realize that without that sun, nothing will grow on this earth, and nothing will live. He said, yes. I said, that sun gives the earth life, including our own bodies. He said, yes. I said, just like God. Whenever God shows up, the result is life, not death. I said, everything about God lives. And every place he goes, he brings life. I said, for God not to heal, if God did not heal, he would not be God. I said, it's in his nature to heal. I said, when the presence of God shows up, nothing withers away and dies. It becomes fruitful and abundant. Because in his presence is abundance. Abundant liberty, abundant healing power, abundant truth, abundant peace, and Jesus said abundant life. It is impossible for God's presence to show up without people getting healed. Now, I was in a church in Denver, Colorado. I can tell you that now. Pastor Charles Blair, at the time, discovered he had cancer. And he called me and said, would you come to my church and pray for me? Please do not tell my people I have cancer. I said, fine. He said, just come and have a service. And at one point, when you feel God on you, just come lay hands on me. But don't tell anyone. He did not want his people to know. Now we can tell it because the whole world knows about it. It's been years. So I went to the church, place was full, the power of God fell, and I was about to go lay hands on him, and the Lord said, not yet. And I learned a secret that night. This has been back many, many years ago. The Lord said this to me. He said, not yet. He said, when my presence becomes real to you, then go lay hands on him. Often we lay hands on people, nothing happens. Because Jesus isn't there yet. We are not the healers. It's not our presence that heals. It's his presence. So I waited. Now the people were worshiping and people were crying. Only God knows why. They were having their own moment with the Lord. And now suddenly the Lord became so real to me, and I was about to go lay hands, and the Lord said, not yet. And I was, in fact, I was learning something that has affected our ministry ever since. The Lord said this to me. He said, when my presence cancels yours, go lay hands on it. Because as long as you're still there, baby, I will not do it. When my presence will cancel your presence, then you go lay hands on it. And that was Catherine Kuhlman's secret. people were healed when Jesus became real. Christian Life magazine years ago did an interview with her. And they said, why are people healed in your service? She said, when people experience Jesus, they will be healed. So healing is not something. Healing is a person. Healing is a person. What's his name? Jesus. Now you see, we've made healing into some theology. Healing is a teaching. Healing is something we believe in. No, forget it. Don't look for healing. Look for the person who heals. Because when he shows up, miracles will happen. All the time. All the time. So, I learned that lesson so long ago. And when the Lord's presence became so real to me, literally, on the platform, Hinn was gone. And I went over and I laid hands on the pastor, and God healed him on the spot. And I have learned that lesson over and over in our crusades. I don't even command sickness to go till the Lord is all over me. And you've got to understand something. Jesus is there. In other words, he's in your heart. He doesn't come and go. But his presence becomes more real to you, and more real to you, and more real to you as you worship him. Worship isn't singing. Worship crucifies self. And when worship becomes intense, and the Lord becomes the center of your heart, and the center of your love, and the center of your life, and you begin to adore him and worship him, something happens to all of you. You become very quiet. When people worship Jesus, they can't scream and shout and holler and run around. All they do is cry. Tears become your language. Your words become inadequate. Because when the presence of the Lord comes, he becomes so real to you that you, the self, the flesh, is canceled. That's exactly what happened in Exodus 34:29. When Moses was in the presence of God, it says, Moses wist not that his face shone. He became so wrapped, if I can say that, he became so wrapped in God that he lost sight of himself. He wist not that his face had shone. He became so taken by the Lord that Moses, frankly, was canceled. And this is exactly what happens every time the Lord heals his people. We must come to that place where all we see is Jesus. Jesus becomes the very center. Jesus becomes our greatest desire, our greatest treasure. He becomes all in all. Remember the old song, you are my everything, you are my all, you are my everything, both great and small. Literally, he becomes all in all to you. And at that minute, at that moment, miracles come. So you say, when will I get healed? When Jesus becomes real to you, sickness will die. In his presence, sickness cannot live.